these ones. No. Oh, that's the one. Hello, sports fans! Welcome back. Long time no see. I know. But don't forget that my name is Nate Miller, and this is Givin Takes, the online sports show where every week I sit down with you lovely sports fans and talk about sports. Because what else would we talk about? You know what? I guess we experiment. We go off topic in the top 10 out of the sports world, like we are today, for example. But yeah, it's been a weird week, man. It's been a really weird week, but a great week for sports, you know? Masters just finished up. I didn't have a green jacket, but I did green tie today. I figured that was close enough. Congratulations, Rory McIlroy, back-to-back Masters. That's something we're going to get into later. But yeah, so originally I was workshopping the idea of doing my show on Thursdays, and I tried it out. I didn't really like it as much as I thought I would going into it. And then ended up pushing it back this week because of the Masters this weekend and the NBA playoff bracket getting set tonight. It just felt like a better idea to do it on a Sunday rather than on a Thursday for this particular week. So going forward, now that I'm back on this Sunday schedule, I think I'm going to try and keep it this way. I think Sunday, just how I did it for the first few episodes, is the best day to do it for me. So I'm going to try to continue that as of now. Should stay the same. There will be, with summer coming up and everything and more traveling that I'm going to do, vacations and such, instead of trying to cram in episodes on those off weeks. I think on those weeks where I'm away, I'll just start taking off weeks. There just won't be a new episode some weeks, which I think is okay. I think you guys will be able to go 2 straight weeks without a Givin Takes episode sometimes. I think you'll manage, but regardless, I'm happy to be back in front of the camera talking sports. I was in front of the camera talking sports over on the Empty the Bench network a little less than a week ago, last Monday after the national championship. I was on the Empty the Bench lounge. It was a great time, fantastic. There were a bunch of viewers who popped in. Some of you I know came from this channel to find the Empty the Bench network, so that is very awesome, and I appreciate you all supporting that. But yeah, you can expect me over there more. I'm going to be getting a more finalized schedule for what shows I'm going to be doing week to week coming up here soon. So hopefully next episode I'll be able to tell you, wow, I sounded like robotic there for a second. Hopefully in my next episode I'm going to be able to tell you all what the schedule is and where and when you're going to be able to find me on their content every week. But for now, it's just me here. This might also be the last episode where it looks like this. And that's not just because I'm doing a little jersey swap in the set change, which you can get excited for next week. But I think coming up here soon, I'm going to start using a new program to record and produce these Givin Takes episodes. I don't know if that'll be next week. It might not be for a couple more weeks. But regardless, there are going to be changes coming, all for the better. But nothing that I think you guys wouldn't like, because I wouldn't change up what's working. And from the amazing feedback I've gotten from you all over the last 8 weeks now since I've started this, it'll be 2 months and a couple days here. I mean, you guys seem to like this too, so I'm not going to change it. I'm going to just keep talking about sports. And before we get into the starting 9, always remember to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Givin Takes. And also show love to my friends over at the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and youtube.com/ETB Network. So with all that out of the way, let's recap an exciting sports week and get into today's starting 9. Leading off, we're going to be talking about the Final Four in the national championship. I'm going to recap each of those 3 games real quick, and spoiler alert, yes, I'm a bit heartbroken that Michigan won it all. I'm not super happy about it. Second, we're going to be doing the long-awaited March Madness accuracy, the bracket of all brackets. I filled one out myself here live on this show, and we're going to go back and see how many games I got correctly. Spoiler alert, it's not a lot. Then for our third topic that we're going to be getting into, we're going to be talking about the Masters. I said it last week. It's my favorite sporting event. I watched a lot of the Masters this week. Some surprising things happened. Some historic things happened at this Masters, and that is not an understatement. We legitimately saw history get made, and I'm very excited to talk about it. I'm also going to give you who my top 5 golfers were initially when I picked who I thought the top 5 were going to be before tournament started, and you'll get to see how that shook out. Then for our fourth topic, we're going to be talking about rookie contract extensions in the MLB. Sometimes it's not even rookies. Sometimes it's guys who haven't even played a game in Major League Baseball yet. But I think it's a very interesting scenario, and I really want to get the chance to break it down, especially with Connor Griffin just inking his about 9-year, $140 million deal with the Pirates. It's a hot-button topic, so I want to be able to cover it. Then coming up fifth on our list today, we're going to be talking about this last week of the NHL season. There's only a couple more spots left up for grabs, and we're going to talk about who those teams are that are competing for it, and we're going to talk about what's at stake here in this last week for some of these teams. And then for our sixth topic, it's a little deviation from what I did last week because I had more topics I wanted to talk about this week. So instead of doing the more longer-formed National League than American League recap, I'm just going to do a quick MLB Standings recap. It's going to be a little shorter. I don't know if this is going to be the permanent way I do it. I'm still kind of changing it up week to week right now until I find a way of doing it that I really like. So we're going to try out this new format with the standings recap this week. And then for our seventh topic, our State of the Union, that's always there and excited for us to arrive, we're going to be talking about the New York Metropolitans. That's right, the Mets. It's only April, and they're already Metting. So I want to get out in front of this, and I want to talk about the Mets. And then for our eighth topic, this is something I do want to start doing every week, and a topic that I don't want to deviate from too heavily or change up. It's my 3 studs of the week in the MLB. I'm going to pick out 3 players, a small stud, a medium stud, and a big stud. 3 guys who showed out last week. They played good ball. It's kind of a play on the NHL's 3 stars of the week. So 3 studs of the week. I put my own little spin on it to make it into the MLB. And then for our 9th topic, we're going to be doing an NBA playoff bracket. That's right. The games are currently still going on. It's it's about 9:45 right now as I'm filming this. So there are still NBA games going on. So that's going to be a segment that I actually film later. So right now I'm going to film the first 8 topics, cut, and then do my top 10. But in between there is going to be the 9th topic of me filling out my NBA bracket that I'm going to have to record later tonight when I will not be in a suit and the set won't really be set up. So you'll see me in comfortable clothes for the first time on Givin Takes there in that segment because it's going to be late and I'm not going to want to put the suit back on and put the set all together again for a 6-minute clip. So if you come here just to see me in a suit, well, I'm sorry, you're not going to like the 9th topic today. And then finally, as always, ending off our episode, it's the top 10. I'm not going to disclose the topic here, so you know what you got to do. You either find that timestamp in the description and skip to the end of the video, or, stick around, take a load off, kick your shoes off, lay back, and let's talk about sports for an hour. So without further ado, let's get into that lead-off topic, the Final Four and the National Championship. I'm going to do 3 quick recaps of these games and let you know my thoughts on it. First off, on the left side of the Final Four, we had UConn going up against Illinois. Both these Final Four games took place Saturday before Easter. Was able to watch both of those with the fam. It was really nice until Michigan won, but we'll get to that later. That UConn-Illinois game was something else. I mean, it looked like for a while there, UConn was just not going to let Illinois back in the door at all. I mean, I think Illinois trailed by 13 at one point, or 12, something like that, and it was their largest deficit of the entire season. And that was about midway through the second half. So I thought that, all right, this is it. UConn's just about to put pedal to the metal, blow them out, it's wraps. But then Illinois started to come back a little bit, and it still ended up being a a pretty like easy win on the scorecard, at least for UConn in terms of the final. But there was a very outside chance towards the end there that Illinois could have done something to make it another historic finish in March, which if you watch enough March Madness, you know that you kind of just have to expect these things sometimes. Like, part of me, when Illinois started making it a little bit of a closer game, was like, is UConn about to have happen to them what they did to Duke last week? I mean, it was a great game. Every shot was falling for UConn. Illinois couldn't buy a bucket until the end there. It was crazy. I think the rim might have been paid by the Huskies. Obviously, that's like a joke because that can't happen, but you know what I mean. It was like Illinois had a lid on the rim. It was absolutely ridiculous, but UConn played well, and Dan Hurley still refused to lose after the Sweet 16. And then we move over to the other side where it was Arizona and Michigan. I said on this show last week that the way I thought this was going to go was that it was going to be like going into an ice bath. Arizona was going to come out hot, quick, big lead, and then as soon as Michigan was able to settle into that tempo, they were going to play it about even or maybe a little worse, but never fully be able to make up that initial lead that Arizona built upon them. If I would have said that exact same analogy, but just switch when I said each team's name, I would have been totally right, because it just happened in reverse. I mean, Michigan came out, I think they were up like 10-1 or 10-2 to start it, and then like after that, it was just, I don't know if it was ever closer than that. Arizona might have got it down to like a 5 or 6 point game at one point, maybe 7 points, like near the end of the first half. But even with Yaxel out and the times where Mara was on the bench, they just could not do anything. I mean, they just looked like a defeated basketball team early on, which is not at all what I expected from the Arizona Wildcats. Like, I thought if they were going to face adversity, then at least they were going to, stand in the face of it and take it and battle back and at least make it a competitive game. But no, they got blown out by about like 20-ish, and they gave up almost 100 points to Michigan, which is just, for what was a fantastic team all season, just an absolutely embarrassing way to end it. But at the end of the day, it's not like Michigan was a scrub team. Like, there were times, like Elliot Cadeau played fantastically all tournament, and especially in that Final Four game. I mean, there were times where I truly thought, like, wow, like, I didn't want to believe it, but I was like, wow, this Michigan team is insanely dominant. Like, I haven't really seen them struggle yet. And then I thought that switch was going to flip when we got to the Final Four game, and it just didn't. I mean, they barely struggled in the national championship. But those are my thoughts on Arizona, Michigan. And now finally I'm going to talk about UConn, Michigan, the national championship. Unbiasedly, so first off, I guess, like, congratulations, Michigan, or whatever. Like, okay, cool, you won, whatever. Who even likes March Madness? Like, no big deal. Regardless, though, I mean, it was a great game. I do think, just as a basketball watcher, that Michigan might have had the whistle in the first half a little too much. I think there were a lot of calls being given to Michigan early on. It didn't last the entire game. I thought the second half was fairly evenly called, but in all honesty, I think Michigan was just getting a couple too many calls in the first half, and that ended up being big enough of a difference for them to lead the entire game and eventually pull away with it. Now, I'm not saying they won because of the refs. I just wish, and even if Michigan wasn't in the championship game, or if the calls would have went UConn's way, I'd still be saying this. Like, I don't like whenever I see one team getting that many more calls than the other in the national championship. Like, just let them play. Don't let it be determined by fouls, because fouls ended up having a big part in it. I mean, I think it was a 6 or 7 point victory for Michigan, so it was close. And then like a couple of those foul shots, I mean, now you're talking about maybe a 3-point game down the stretch instead of a 5-point game, 1-possession game where UConn has a chance to make a shot to tie it, instead of it's a 2-possession game and they need to foul and try to create ways to come back from a much more unlikely 2-possession game deficit. So I don't like that the refs had that big of a hand in it when I didn't think they should, but Michigan just, once they took the lead in the second half, or late in the first half, there was just no looking back. I mean, they played fantastically. They didn't show that many signs of weakness. I mean, UConn played great too, though. I mean, it was just very evenly played. I mean, every time you thought Michigan was going to pull away, make it a blowout against UConn closed the gap a little bit. Every time you thought UConn was eventually going to go and snatch the lead back from Michigan, they didn't. Michigan was able to keep their distance. So it was a very well-played game, very entertaining national championship. I personally wish the result was reversed and that UConn would have won instead of Michigan, but that's life. Sometimes your rival wins it all, and it just sucks. But that's what happens. Those are my thoughts on those 3 games, and that is the end of our leadoff topic. Now here we're going to be getting into our second topic, which is my March Madness accuracy. How good was I at March Madness? Not great. I'm going to have graphics up here for you this segment. My picks are going to be over top of Mateen Cleaves, and the actual bracket's going to be over top of Paul Skeens. I already crunched the numbers and figure out how many I got right in each tournament. I'm not going to walk you through it game by game, but I'm going to throw both images up there for you to visually look at, and I'm going to tell you how right or how wrong I was. So, I count the first 4. The first 4 games are important, so I wanted to count those in there. I went 2 for 4 in the first 4. Pat myself on the back for that one. Pretty impressive. 2 for 4 in the first 4. I mean, come on. That's really where you guys should focus on. 50% in the first 4. That's actually all that matters in this segment. But no, I'll get to what you actually want to hear about. All right. Right now, putting up the East region. In the East region, I went 10 out of 15. This was my best region by a lot, actually. This was the first one I filled out, and I was like, 10, that's pretty good. I wonder if that's going to keep up. It did not. I missed on Iowa State winning. I missed on Louisville winning. But for the rest of that, I was mostly pretty good. I had, what else was it? Yeah, I had UConn going pretty far. I was correct about that. I had Duke winning the region. That didn't end up working out in my favor. Sorry, I'm pulling the images up while I'm trying to talk. I thought I had these pulled up already. I did not. So let me just stop the rambling and focus on getting these up here. All right. Now I'll get into it. So, yeah, I missed on Ohio State. I had them winning when TCU won. I had South Florida winning when Louisville won. I had Michigan State beating UConn, and UConn ended up winning that game. And outside of that, it was a good bracket. It was a good bracket. So 10 out of 15 there. That was definitely my most accurate one. Now going down into the South region. This one was not as good. I went 7 for 15 in the South, which was not my worst bracket, unfortunately. I had Iowa losing in the first round, and they made it to the Elite Eight. So that one hurt. That one hurt this region. But I got Vanderbilt and Nebraska right in those games. However, I had Vanderbilt advancing to the Sweet 16, not Nebraska. I picked VCU over North Carolina. Wrong there. I had Texas A&M and Houston. I had that matchup predicted correctly. And then I had Houston making the Elite Eight when ultimately it was Illinois, who I didn't even have making out of the second round. So that is a pretty bad South bracket. Now we're going to move up to the West. This was Arizona's region. I had Arizona and Utah State, had those right. I had Wisconsin in the Final Four. And they lost in the first round. So that was another one that really hurt. That's a big reason why this is my worst region, and I went 6 for 15. Wisconsin really hurt me there. But I had Arkansas correct, I had Gonzaga, and then I had Purdue. So I missed on the Miami and Texas wins. But I did correctly get Arizona moving on to the Sweet 16. I had Purdue getting upset, so I was also wrong about that. I mean, it was just a mess. It was just a mess. We can get done with this one now. I was totally wrong on the West region, but now one that I was not quite as bad at. I'm going to move over to the Midwest region. Had Michigan and St. Louis both correct, as well as Texas Tech. However, I picked Hofstra for the upset when in actuality Alabama won. I had Miami, Ohio beating Tennessee, which did not happen, but Virginia advanced, and I was able to accurately predict Kentucky against Iowa State. Had Iowa State and Michigan accurately in the Sweet 16, but Alabama made it there in one of the spots, as did Virginia. Those two I got wrong. Or no, I'm sorry. Tennessee made it to the Sweet 16, but I had Virginia, so I was wrong about that. And then I had Texas Tech over Alabama, and then I did not have Michigan winning the region. I had Iowa State. And judging by the fact that all 4 of my final 4 picks were wrong, I'm guessing this won't be a surprise to you when you see the Final Fours play out. Clearly, I had none of the teams in there, so I went 0 for 3. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I went 8 for 15 in the Midwest. So there were 67 games in total that I had to pick. Whenever you add all those numbers up and divide them, you get 33 out of 67 picks correct. That's an accuracy of 49.3% on the March Madness bracket I made here on Givin Takes. Not my finest hour, you know. I got to fill out a good bracket here soon. Maybe the NBA one I fill out tonight will be the good bracket I fill out, because if I'm going to be totally honest, it's been rough here on Givin Takes. I hover at like 50% for most of this stuff I pick. I think my best is like 59, and I think that was adding up like every single conference tournament pick I made. I think that was the best I've done on a bracket so far, because I didn't do that great in the World Baseball Classic either. So I guess I just don't know ball when it comes to filling out brackets. But maybe for the NBA this week and the NHL, I believe it's going to be on next episode, those brackets will be a lot more accurate. But hey, I don't know. I'm going to try. I'm going to make the best damn brackets you've ever seen. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be confident about it. My brackets are going to rock. Both of them are going to be perfect. Bet all your money on all my picks, because I'm always right. That's the energy I'm going into this with. But after that weird tangent about me being like super smart when I'm not, when it comes to making brackets, I'm just going to end that March Madness accuracy topic. That was our second topic. It is done now. If you like these accuracy things, let me know. I think it's always fun whenever I go back to takes I've previously made, or in this case, something tangible like a bracket I've filled out to check on it. Just because I feel like a lot of the times, you know, people fill out these brackets or make these claims, and regardless of what happens, unless it's like really, really good, they just kind of forget that they said it. I like going back to it. I know it takes up a topic of me just seeing if I'm accurate or not. So if you don't like seeing that as much, let me know. I won't do it as much. But if you do like it and you want to continue to see it, let me know. Because I enjoy it. I enjoy going back to it. But now it is time for our third topic. It's a topic unlike any other. It's time to talk about the Masters. What a 4 days. What a 4-day tournament. A lot of crazy stuff happened. I'm going to start off with, I got 3 things here to talk about, and then I'm going to give you my top 5 prediction that I had pre-tournament. Let's lead off talking about Rory McIlroy, or should I say let's tee off talking about Rory McIlroy. That's a golf pun. Back-to-back Masters. I mean, wow. I mean, the last time it happened was 01-02, so this is the first it's ever happened in my lifetime, which is crazy. I mean, given that I think this was like the 90th Masters and it's only happened 4 times, is just shows how incredible of a feat it is. I mean, in the world's toughest, most competitive, most highly sought-after golf tournament, you're able not to just win it once after having all these troubles getting it done, but then go out and win it the next consecutive year too. Just an impressive feat by Rory McIlroy. He played lights out. He had like a 6-shot lead after day 2, and then I know he had a bad day on Saturday to kind of close the gap a little bit. I think he was either tied for the lead or had like a 1-stroke lead or something going into today, but then he just played fantastically, went up and down on 16 and 17, which was absolutely clutch, and then he just needed to not double bogey the 18th hole to win back-to-back Masters, and then you'll never guess what happened. He shanked his drive right. It was almost like he almost had to play it on the opposite fairway. Like, that's what I'm used to doing when I golf. I'm used to, teeing off on the first hole and then seeing the 9th next to me and be like, oh, hey, all right, I'm I'm shooting back this way. I have to shoot through trees a lot. I hit it right. I'm trying to work on my swing. Someone help me. I digress. Rory hit his drive way right, had to play it off the opposite fairway, hit a really tough shot that he took quite a long time to set up, but it was worth it. He hit it into the bunker that was next to the green side bunker. He hit an amazing sand shot to get it within 2-putt distance for bogey, which would allow him to win it by 1 over Scottie Scheffler. And that's what he did. The first putt, it wasn't the easiest putt, so I wasn't going to say like he was expected to make it. It was a pretty challenging putt, but he could have made it. But there was always the fear that disaster might strike with Rory putting in a crucial moment, given his history that we all know about. But no, he put it super close, and then while he was waiting for the other guy to putt, I think it was Cameron Young he was paired with, you just saw him like start to break down in tears and realize like I'm a 2-inch putt away from being a back-to-back Masters champion. And that was really cool to watch. I really enjoyed that. Something I didn't enjoy watching, and yeah, just congratulations to Rory McIlroy. Wow, man. Maybe will he three-peat? Next year. It's going to be exciting. Rory three-peating is going to be the talk of the Masters. And who will it be that takes down Rory McIlroy now is going to be another talk like of the Masters. Like who's going to dethrone the back-to-back Masters champ? I mean, some great storylines heading into the 2027 Masters. And one of those also being the fact that is DeChambeau going to be back? I mean, Bryson DeChambeau missed the cut. I bet on him to win the tournament before it started, you know? Like, I thought DeChambeau, it was going to be his year. But he shot terribly. I mean, it was just piss poor. I mean, he was +4 after day 1, and then he had a triple bogey on 18 to finish 2 over on day 2, and that led him to finishing +6, and he missed the cut. He was inside the cut before that 18th hole, where he hit a 7. I mean, that's one of the worst. I know it was just for the cut, and it's not like he blew the lead away. But after last year being in the final pairing and then going out the way you did and then having these 2 days, I mean, Augusta just might not be DeChambeau's course, in all honesty. I mean, the last 3 rounds he's had at Augusta in terms of the Masters have been terrible. And maybe not by the number, I mean, better than I'll ever shoot, obviously. But, like, in terms of how DeChambeau should be playing and how people expect him to play, it was just awful. Like, and I know he can't just go practice there because he hasn't won the Masters, like, you know, Rory, Scotty, Rahm, those guys. But, like, you got to find a way to get back on the Augusta horse, man, because, like, especially since you're in Live, people expect a lot of you. I feel like when you come back over to the Masters, or at least, like, you know that people are rooting for you to fail, Bryson, because you're in Live and not on the tour. So, like, to come out and play like that, like, I don't know if the pressure's getting to him or what. I don't think it's YouTube. A lot of people, I think, are going to point and say he's spending too much time devoted to, like, making YouTube content and doing stuff like that, and that's taken away from his game. I don't think that's entirely true because his YouTube channel is where he golfs. Like, he's getting swings in while he does that, and he's doing things to build his brand, which I can respect. And I can also, you know, see the argument of that, like, he could just spend that time, like, at the range, like, not talking in front of a camera, but focusing, working on his swing. I get that, but I really don't think this YouTube thing is to blame. Now, maybe if I see a correlation in his uploads and his performance, if that coincides, yeah, then maybe we can say it's a problem. But I don't even know how much stuff he actually films during the season. I know he films mostly in the off season, but I don't know. I just want to say, even though he's played terrible the last 3 times on Masters, and there are questions to be had about DeChambeau, I don't think YouTube is the problem, which is something I've heard a lot of people saying recently. And then finally, I just want to say, before getting into that top 5, that Scottie Scheffler is still the best golfer in the world. I mean, he shot himself in the foot a lot, but, like, he easily could have won this Masters. He just had a few bad holes. Like, it just, like, the way he plays and the way he's able to come back after having these terrible deficits in tournaments is just absolutely insane to me. I mean, he ended up finishing in second, and I think at one point, I think it was day 2, he was like tied for 24th or something. Like, he just had an amazing comeback on these last 2 days. I know the soft greens hurt him on day 2. That was something he was talking about, but I still think Scottie Scheffler is the man to beat in the PGA Tour. Even though Rory's hot at Augusta, I still think Scheffler is going to win a couple majors this year, and he is a man to fear. Now let's get into that top 5. Was I accurate? Was I not? So my top 5 were Bryson DeChambeau. This is not in order, by the way. I just picked who I thought the top 5 would be. We were Ludwig Oberg, Tommy Fleetwood, Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, and Scottie Scheffler. So I got 2 right. I went 2 out of 5. That's 40%, which does not help my average in terms of all the stuff I've done on here. I was hovering like 50s, just in the 50s everywhere, and now both of my things today are in the 40s. So I really need to pick it up, man. I really need to pick it up. But it was a great Masters. I can't wait for next year because, like I said, all the storylines that are going to be flowing around. Rory just coming off a historic performance at the Masters, not for his score, but the fact that he was able to win back-to-back is surely going to be celebrated. I can't wait to see it. And yeah, history got made in Augusta, Georgia this weekend. It was super cool to see, and I just love the Masters. I could talk all day about it. But I won't, because it's high time that we go to the 4th topic. That's right, we're moving over to the 4th topic right now. It is going to be rookie contract extensions in the MLB. This is something that is very interesting to me. So, like, it's just crazy. Like, so many of these guys have seen, like, you'll see them, they've played, like, 2 games or no games sometimes in the MLB. Like, pitchers, maybe they'll get, like, 2 starts. A guy has, like, a good week in the MLB or something, and then they're getting like 9 years, $140 million, like Connor Griffin. Like, I know Connor Griffin is the number 1 prospect in MLB, and he's debuting at 19 years old, and people are talking about him like he's the next Trout. And as a Pirates fan, I absolutely love the extension. But it's crazy to think about. You have a guy who, at the time of you offering this to him, had played 0 games in the MLB, and you lock him up for 9 more years for $140 million, which isn't a lot for some teams, but for an organization like the Pittsburgh Pirates, that feels like a lot. Not because I don't want to spend, but just because we're not used to dishing out money like that over here at PNC Park, you know what I mean? So I love the Connor Griffin extension. I think it's fantastic, but is this a good thing in the MLB? Is it smart now that there is a trend of all these players getting signed so early into their careers? Because these are a couple examples I pulled up. Colt Emerson on the Mariners, he got 8 years and $95 million. Cooper Pratt on the Brewers, 8 years, $50 million. Those aren't the biggest numbers, but those are still very long extensions that are definitely going to have like exponentially growing payouts in them. So with all that being said, like, and the fact that Samuel Basallo on the Orioles, Roman Anthony, and Christian Campbell, who are both on the Red Sox, those guys all inked early long-term extensions in early 2026. I mean, like, these guys have, like, no service time. I mean, it's often before they debut in the major leagues. I mean, you can look at Jackson Chorio, who's been in the league for about a year, who's getting 8 years, $82 million, and Corbin Carroll, who, when he was fresh in the league, got 8 years, $111 million. I mean, these are... I think these are a risky play. I mean, look at, like, Julio Rodriguez and Fernando Tatis Jr. a couple years back, each inking, like, 13, 14-year deals for absurd amounts of money. I mean, those were young guys at the time. Like, I think Julio Rodriguez had 1 season under his belt when he got his deal. I think Fernando's, he was a little bit more seasoned before he got his, so that makes sense. But just the concept of extending these guys for so long just after a good season or two is just crazy to me. Like, I think there's a reason guys wait or have 6 years before they hit free agency naturally, and it's because you can't, like, that's a lot of money to throw at something that's only been good for 2 years. Like, And I know that sounds crazy to say, but Julio Rodriguez isn't been playing like the player recently that deserves all the money he's been getting. I mean, Jackson Churio's been solid, but I don't think he's living up to that contract number at the moment. Will he get there? Yeah, there's no like me saying like I hope they don't get there or they're not going to get better, but it's just sometimes with all these projections and everything, people think they have a guy on their team that's, I'm going to use the Connor Griffin numbers for example because I just got those in my head. That is a 9-year, $140 million player. And then maybe they get 3 years into that deal and it's like, this guy's not worth that kind of money. Like he's subpar. Maybe your guy's hitting 220 with 15 homers and he's just like a solid guy on your team, but he's not worth all that money. I mean, I think with this becoming more and more of a common trend, we're going to start seeing more of these contracts get dished out that just end up turning into huge busts. And that's not me hating on the players or anything because some of the best talent in this league right now is just like super young. I mean, like listen to the top 10 picks of the 2024 MLB draft. Travis Bazzana to the Cleveland Guardians. Chase Byrne to the Cincinnati Reds, who's already had time in the majors. Charlie Condon to the Rockies. Nick Kurtz, who went to the Oakland Athletics, Rookie of the Year, and he was drafted 2 years ago, not even. Hagen Smith on the White Sox. Jack Caglione, who's up with the Royals already. J.J. Weatherholt, who's up with the Cardinals already. Christian Moore in the Angels. Connor Griffin, who just got his extension with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Seaver King with the Washington Nationals. I mean, the list goes on of just, I mean, and even all the way down at 20th, you got Trey Savage with the Toronto Blue Jays. He was a World Series MVP candidate, or front runner, honestly. And those are all guys who got picked in the 2024 MLB draft. I mean, so there is something to be said about maybe these young guys who are just ready to come up and go. Yeah, extend them immediately, right? But at the same time, I don't necessarily think it's the smartest thing because it's a gambling situation. It literally is. You're gambling $140 million that this guy is going to be a franchise player for 9 years. I mean, think about like, I'm going to put this like in football terms because this is the best way I can think to relate this. Think about like Jamarcus Russell. Like if Jamarcus Russell was like Connor Griffin, he was the number 1 overall draft pick. You can equate that to being like a number 1 prospect if football were to have like a, like a prospect stuff. I bet you Jamarcus Russell before he played would have been pretty high up on an NFL prospect list. And he is regarded as the worst first overall pick of all time. So imagine if a player like that is in a situation now in the MLB to where they can get extended for 10 years and get like $200 million or something. Maybe these numbers are typically in the like low to mid hundreds. So we'll say like 10 years, $130 million like that you're committing to this guy. That's a $13 million a year player who, what if it is a Jamarcus Russell and he wouldn't even be worth $2 million, but now you're committed to paying him all this money. I mean, it just needs to be done a little bit more in moderation, I think, because like I said, with how fast it's happening, I think we're going to be bound for a major bust here soon, and I don't think that any MLB team is going to want that. Who's it going to be? Who's the prospect, the team going to be? I have no idea. I have no speculation, and I have no reason to doubt any of the young talent in Major League Baseball right now, but I'm just saying it's a big risk. So that is the end of our 4th topic. That was something I was really excited to talk about today. And now we're going to get into our 5th topic, which is the last week of the NHL season. This is going to be a fun one. So here are the playoff spots that are still up for grabs in the NHL. 3rd place in the Metro is up for grabs. The Flyers have played 80 games and have 94 points. Also, before I finish rifling through these, there are still some hockey games going on right now, so by the time this comes out, it might not be super totally accurate because, a couple teams might have gotten points here tonight. But I don't think any major clinching scenarios are happening tonight. I think. So this all, in terms of clinching and everything, this all should still be accurate by the time it's posted tomorrow morning, but fingers crossed, But all right, 3rd place in the Mets up for grabs. Flyers currently have it. They've played 80 games, got 94 points. The Capitals are 1 point behind them at 93, but they also have one more game played than the Flyers, so they'll have to win their next game, and the Flyers would have to lose each of their next two if the Capitals want to find their way into third place. The Blue Jackets are at 80 games played with 92 points, so they're going to need to win both of their games and have the Capitals win or lose doesn't hurt them. They'd still be ahead of the Capitals if they won both of their games, but they're also going to need the Flyers to lose at least one. Or actually, no, they can't lose. I'm actually not sure what the tiebreaker is, but the Blue Jackets need to win out. Same goes for the Islanders, who have 80 games played at 91 points, but also if the Flyers win a single game, that will eliminate the New York Islanders. And like I said, if the Flyers win 1 out of 2 to get to 96 points and the Blue Jackets win out to also get to 96, I'm not entirely sure who has that tiebreaker, but a Philadelphia Flyers win in one of their last 2 games would eliminate both the Capitals and the Islanders from third place in the Met. Third place in the Pacific Division is also up for grabs. I found this interesting. This must be like, I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but the San Jose Sharks and the Winnipeg Jets. Or wait, nope, that's the wrong tab. There we go. We're at the right tab. The Los Angeles Kings and the San Jose Sharks are who are competing with the Anaheim Ducks for third place in the Pacific. All teams have 79 games played. The Anaheim Ducks have 89 points, the Kings 87, and the Sharks 82. I'm not sure why it's not showing me that the Sharks are eliminated from divisional contention, because if they get 6 points, they go up to 88 points, and the Ducks already have 89, so even if the Kings and Ducks were to both lose out, they would not get third place in the Pacific. So I don't quite know why they haven't been eliminated yet, at least on ESPN's website it's not showing. But I want to talk about the second wild card spot too. So the two teams that realistically have a chance are the Kings and the Predators. As I said, Kings 79 games played, 87 points. Nashville Predators 80 games played, 86 points. So the Predators only have 2 games left. The most points they can get to is 90. So if they are to win out, they need the Kings to only win 1 game. Or the Kings can't win. Or no, wait. The Kings can only win 1 game. I don't know why I'm struggling with this math so much right now. But yeah, winning out for the Predators would take them to 90 points. And the Kings going 1-2 in their last 3 would take them to 89 points. So that would put the Predators in the second wild card spot. And once again, I don't know quite how it's possible, but yeah, I mean, okay, so if the Los Angeles Kings win 1 more game, then the Winnipeg Jets and the San Jose Sharks will be knocked out of wild card contention, because the most points both of these teams can get to is 88, because they're both at 82 points with 3 games left to play. So that's a max of 6 points. The most they can get to is 88. And with the Kings at 87, if they get to 88 points, I doubt the Kings lose a tiebreaker, but any type of win gets them to 89 points, which is more than the Jets and the Sharks can get, which will put them out of playoff contention. So I mentioned the Jets and the Sharks. Do I really think they have a chance at competing for it? I don't, but they are in there. So it's heating up. I mean, it's looking like the Kings are in a, even though they're not super firmly in a playoff spot, they have 2 possible playoff spots to go out and get. Same with the Anaheim Ducks. So I'd honestly say, because of the versatility and not just the fact that they're holding the spots, that those would be my 2 picks to advance to the playoffs, just because they have like a little more leeway in terms of, like they can get the wild card if they don't get the division. That reasoning might not be the most sound, but for some reason that's making sense to me. And then the Nashville Predators, they do have a chance if they win out, because like I said, they can get to 90 points in total, and if the Kings go 1-2, then they're going to finish behind the Nashville Predators. But I just don't see the Kings going 1-2. I think they'll probably win at least 2 of their last games, but who's to say? It's all up in the air, but all you got to know is those 3 playoff spots are up for grabs. Sorry, I know I was up and I was looking all over the screen because I just had the big ESPN standings up, so I was trying to go, analyze it, go through all the numbers as I should as a good talk show host. But now that I'm off of that, I just want to say it is going to be such an exciting week to end the NHL season. I'm very excited for it. Who's going to be third place in the Met? Are we going to get the Battle of Pennsylvania in the first round of the playoffs? That would be super cool. It's a little bit of a bloodbath there now in the West for that last Pacific Division spot and the last wild card spot. 3 teams who are very, very solid hockey teams, all right there vying for a spot. I think it's super fun. I think some of these games are just going to be must watch. I mean, it's that time of year, NBA, NHL playoff season. It's a great time of year. You just get done with the big March Madness bracket, and you're like, March Madness is done. And then, boom, you're right into 2 more playoff brackets. It's fantastic. It's a great time. And that is the end of our last week of the NHL season. Those were the standings. That's what's to look forward to. And now it is time to move on to our 6th topic, which is the MLB Standings Recap. We're going to go through this quickly. I'm not going to really dive into each team, but I'm going to go through the standings and just kind of... I didn't script anything for this by design. I kind of want it to just be a more natural me talking segment rather than I pre-plan out what I'm going to say. I kind of want to just look at the standings and then whatever I'm thinking at the moment, just kind of give that opinion on it. So I'm going to try that out for this. I'm going to see if that's going to be good. And there's going to be no timer on it. I'm just going to talk, but I don't think it's going to go crazy long. So we're going to start off in the AL East. The Orioles and Yankees are tied for first place with the Rays. That's right, I threw a little curveball at you. It's a 3-team tie for first place in the American League East. The Orioles, Yankees, and Rays all at 8-7. And then the Red Sox and Blue Jays, I guess, are technically tied for 4th, but also 5th. I'm not exactly sure how you would say that, but they're tied at 6-9 at the bottom of the division. Then in the American League Central, or something I want to say about this division first. This is a good division. The Orioles look terrible against the Pirates, but they have bounced back really nicely. I've been saying this I said this about the Orioles on the last episode. I think they are just a team that I don't know what to make of. They're going to score a lot of runs, and they're going to give up a lot of runs. The Yankees pitching is still fantastic, but they have run into some roadblocks here. The Red Sox are picking it up after what was a horrific start. The Blue Jays just dropped some games that they 100% should not have to some terrible teams like the White Sox. I mean, White Sox fans watching, I'm sorry, your team ain't good, but they played fantastically against the Blue Jays. I don't know how they lost those games. And then the Rays are surprising me too at 8-7. I mean, I know it's early, but they're above 500 a lot later into the season than I thought it would be. I thought they would go 1-4 or something to start off and then just never look back from being under 500. But that is not the case. Now let's get to what is the most surprising thing so far for me. In the American League Central, Cleveland Guardians 9-6. They're up top. They're playing good ball. They look like they're going to be the same old Cleveland Guardians. Twins in second place in 9-7. I don't know how the Twins are doing this. I don't know what they got cooking over there. I still think they're going to be terrible and finish in last place in the division, but this 9-7 start is absolutely shocking to me. Then you got the Royals and the Tigers, both at 7-9. Tigers looked bad recently. They lost a lot of games they shouldn't have. Kansas City's playing okay. I feel like they're going to be a team this year that always is kind of hovering just below 500, just kind of based on how I've seen them play so far. And you know what? Hey, the White Sox, 6-10. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the history of all of baseball this year. I think they look all right. They're probably going to be a 4th place team in my opinion, if I had to guess. Murakami is still a bright spot. I like him. And now in the American League West, our State of the Union team last week is tied for first with the Texas Rangers in the American League West, which is the Oakland Athletics. They were 1-5, now they're 8-7, 7-3 in their last 10. They must watch Givin Takes. They must have seen what I had to say and been like, Nate's got a point. We got to figure this out. And then they totally did. Now they're in first place. So watch out for the A's, maybe? I don't know. They're such an interesting team. And then you got the Angels at 500, 8-8. Only team who's dead 500 in the American League. And then you got the Mariners at 2 games below 500 at 7-9. They're going to need to pick up their play a little bit. I haven't absolutely loved how I've seen the Mariners play so far this season. And then the Astros fallen from grace all the way down to 6-10. Imai doesn't look fantastic to start his career stateside. I don't think he's been the pitcher so far that the Astros expected him to be. Jose Altuve looked pretty foolish today, getting picked off by the Mariners. That was a bad look for the little man. But yeah, Astros started off great. Now they're playing bad. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of teams here that just start going, like the ups and downs of a 162 game season, man. Like I'm gonna be doing these in basically like 7 game stretches because that's how long a week is. So like 6 or 7 games, however many a team is going to play throughout the week, depending on if they have an off day. I mean, there are going to be so many times where I watch someone for a week and I think, yeah, I got a good gauge on how this team is going to be. I can kind of feel what they're going for. I see it. And then the next week's just like, nope, maybe they're going to suck. Like, it's especially at this part of the season, it is so hard to really know who these teams are, but we're getting better and better ideas every time we watch a pitch, man. So now let's rotate over to the National League. Starting in the National League West, we got the Dodgers leading the pack, unsurprisingly, at 11-4. They look great. The only times we've really seen them struggle was against Cleveland when they took 2 out of 3 against them. Padres are looking good at 10-6. They looked good against the Pirates. Marquez and Pivetta pitched pretty well. It's looking like those bats are starting to heat up, and they found themselves 4 games over 500. Then you got the Diamondbacks at 9-7. They've been playing pretty solid. They took a series against the Mets. They're a team that I still don't know what to make of, honestly. They feel like I don't really have strong opinions either way on the Arizona Diamondbacks right now. I think they're going to hover around in wild card conversations. I think they'll be maybe not necessarily like, they're holding the 3rd spot of the wild card right now, but I could definitely see them in the mix and in the hunt for a decent part of this season. But I just don't think they're going to be particularly good or bad. Like, they're a very middle ground team to me. And then you got the Rockies and the Giants tied for last place. They're both at 6-10. Great for the Rockies, terrible for the Giants. I mean, it's not a fun time in San Francisco right now. I almost put them on State of the Union this week. I almost did. But, I decided to go another way, as you heard me talk about in the starting 9 when I started this episode. But now we're going to go to the National League Central. The Pirates are leading the pack, baby. Woo! Let's go. First place, Pittsburgh Pirates. That brings a smile to my face. Woo! All right, I'm done now. Pittsburgh Pirates are in first place. They're at 9-6. The offense looks legit. The starting pitching looks great. There's just been the bullpen is the biggest question mark for the Pirates right now. I think they need to go out, get some relievers. Lawrence, I don't think is the guy. I think he's getting in a couple too many situations that he's not built for, and it's costing Pittsburgh games. So that's how I feel about the Pittsburgh Pirates. Then we got the Reds in second place at 9-7. I said I didn't think they took a step forward after their first week of the season, but now that they've had a little more time playing, they're starting to put it together a bit, I think. They've had some nice win streaks. I think they look pretty solid, and maybe they didn't take that step forward necessarily, but it looks like they're going to at least be playing on par with how they performed last year, which, if you don't remember, was wildcard team, 3rd wildcard. Then you got the Brewers and the Cardinals tied at 8-7. Cardinals, I'm a little bit surprised about. Brewers, I mean, I guess maybe I would have slated them for like 10-5 or something at this point, so maybe a couple games worse than what I originally would have thought, but not a big deal. I think the Brewers are still going to be okay and competing. The Cardinals, I don't know how long it holds up. I mean, they look solid, but I don't know, man. I do not have faith in this Cardinals team. That's not like a rivalry thing. I just look at the roster, and I'm not really taken aback by it whatsoever, thinking like, whoa, like this is a put-together roster. I just don't have that feeling. And then in lonely last place, you got the Chicago Cubs at 7-8. They lost 2 or 3 to Pittsburgh this weekend in pretty devastating fashion. 2 nothing, 4-3 off a blown wild, or on a not a wild pitch, but just an errant throw from the pitcher to first base. But on the other side, and unfortunately for me, they were able to steal one from the Pirates today with a walk-off by Michael Busch. So the Cubs did show some signs of life, and they were able to take a game from the Pirates, which is something that they had to do. Being swept by the Pirates would have been damn near panic button time in Chicago. And now finally, rounding out the National League standings recap, we got the National League East. The Braves are 9-6. They're in first place. They look like they're trying to get back to October this year. The Marlins in second place at 8-8. They've been bad as of late, worst of this division in their last 10 at 3-7. I still think they're a fine team. I think they're very intriguing. I think they have some players on their team that could break out and potentially get the Marlins in those wild card conversations, but I just don't know. I was a little high on them last week. Now I'm kind of a little lower after seeing them drop, 7 of their last 10. So I'm putting a pin in how I feel about the Marlins because I think I genuinely just need to watch them play more baseball. And then you got the Phillies and Nationals both at 7-8, a game under 500. Early goings for the Phillies, I think they'll probably figure it out. I mean, it's only one game under 500. It's not the biggest thing in the world. And the Nationals, I think this is about where they're going to play, right around 500. They've had some games where they've looked absolutely terrible, but they've also had some games where they've looked pretty solid. So they're kind of like the Diamondbacks. I don't really know what to make of this team. I think they're going to be... I think this team is more likely to go on a 7-game losing streak than a 7-game winning streak. So maybe they will finish closer to under 500 than over 500 by a significant margin. But I still think they're a fine team. I wouldn't push the panic button on anybody yet, really. And then there's the Mets, lonely last place. They're at 7-9. They are 2 games under 500. And I'm not going to talk about them too much right now because they are my State of the Union team. So I will get to that when we transition over to the State of the Union here shortly. But those are the standings in the MLB right now and a couple of my just off the top of the head thoughts about how these teams are performing. If you like that style of me doing it, let me know. I will continue to do it that way. If you would rather me go back to the old American League, National League recap, I can do that too. Just let me know. But once again, I intentionally ended the standings with the team that I'm going to be talking about in the State of the Union. That's right. In case you have a bad memory and you forgot what I told you about 50 minutes ago, here's your reminder. It's the State of the Union with the New York Mets. They're the Mets. They're the Mets. I don't like the Mets, but I've always liked that song for some reason. All right. It's time to get into talking about the Mets. This isn't going to be super long because obviously, there's not too much to break down over 16 games, and you don't want to speculate too much when you're not even to May yet in baseball season. But just a couple things I've noticed and picked up on with the Mets and kind of why I chose them for State of the Union. So I said that I thought on paper they could be a team that wins the National League if they don't Met. And in my opinion, they're just already showing signs of Metting. I mean, they got swept by the Athletics, who do not have the greatest pitching staff. Let's be real. They don't have a very good pitching staff. I talked about that at length on the last episode of Givin Takes. And now we're in a position to where you're just getting, you're the Mets. You got Robert and Polanco and Marcus Semien and Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor and Bo Bichette and Carson Benj and Francisco Alvarez and Mark Vientos and all these guys and Brett Beatty and all these guys who are supposed to be great hitters, and you built this fantastic team that's just going to go out and hit, and that's why you went out and got Freddie Peralta and Devin Williams to bolster the pitching for that hitting lineup. And it's where's the offensive production? I don't see, what's supposed to be your strength is just not there right now. Everyone on the Mets kind of just looks lost to me at the moment. I don't know if they just need to, lock in or what. I talked about, that whole thing of Francisco Lindor, not knowing how many outs there were. I get it's early in the season, but come on, man. That's inexcusable at the major league level. I know it still happens and will happen, but, the way he made it look just made it seem like it came from laziness, not like, oh, I legitimately forgot how many outs there were. Like, I thought that was just a bad look for Lindor. I think that's such a bad tone in the Mets clubhouse. I don't like that that's the attitude that they're starting the season with. So, I mean, the Mets are on Met watch. I think that's the only thing you can call it, because no team does it quite like the Mets. Let's be honest. I mean, and before getting swept by the Diamondbacks, they lost 2 out of 3 to Arizona. So now you're talking about 2-6 in your last 8 games after starting off 5-3. It's like it's just a bad, but I believe it's a telling stretch. Just because, you know, the marquee players, they're not playing how they should right now. Like, it feels like a lot of people on that team are underperforming, even though I know it's not everyone. But I don't really know. Like, I don't have some grand, all right, this is how I would fix the Mets. Because I think roster-wise, they got it right. They built the right team that can go out and beat the best teams in the MLB in a 7-game series come October. Like, I think they have a roster to do that. But at the end of the day, as simple as it sounds, they just need to play like the players they are. Like, they just need to play better, which seems so much easier said than done. But I rarely, like, usually it's like, oh, this is the hole in the roster. I think it's a pretty obvious hole in this roster. Like, oh, they don't, oh, it's hot. Like, oh, they don't have a third baseman. Like, they have the worst third baseman in the league. They need to go out and get a third baseman. Or, oh, they got a hole in left field. We don't got anyone who can play left. Or we got no catcher. Like, they got the guys. They have one of the most well-rounded lineups in the MLB, in my opinion. But they're just playing terribly. So what is going to wrap up probably a really short State of the Union. Not probably, a definitely really short State of the Union, because I don't think there's too much to say, because I think it's an obvious thing. The Mets just need to not Met. As simple as that. Don't let whatever is in the water in Queens, don't drink it, because whatever it's doing is messing with these players. Like, they were in the NLCS in 2024. Like, they were close to getting it done not that long ago. Then they fell off the face of the earth in 2025, and then got what I think is a better team than their 2024 team this year in 2026. But they look terrible to start. I know they have 16 games played. It's a 162-game season. They're a tenth of the way through the season. They have 90% of their season left to change it around. I mean, theoretically, they could go 153-9. Like, that's baseball. That's how many games there are. So there is time for them to figure it out, and I'm not saying at all that they won't or this roster is a bust. I'm just saying with how they've been playing recently, they need to figure it out, because this cannot continue for the Mets in what's shaping up to be probably a pretty competitive NL East this year, with the Marlins maybe being around a 500 team, the Braves looking phenomenal, and the Phillies still having that great roster that they have. So that's how I feel about the New York Mets. It's simple, quick. Just play better, New York. You just have to play better. It sounds like uneducated, and I'm just saying play better to say it. But no, that's just how I feel. Like, you just got to play better. But that is the end of my State of the Union. I'll have a new baseball team on here next week. Potentially, maybe a playoff team. I've been thinking about maybe putting playoff teams on State of the Union for this time of the year. Like, maybe I can do it if, like, a good team's down, like, 2 games in a series or something. Like, maybe that's what'll be the qualifier for State of the Union. Like say, like, the 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder are down 2-0 against whoever the 8 seed is, then yeah, maybe I'll throw them on State of the Union for, like, a playoff bit. But I don't know if I'll make that work, or if I want to make that work, because I'd rather talk about a baseball team. We'll see, but you can expect either an MLB team or potentially a playoff team as the State of the Union team next week. Our 7th segment that we all know and love. But now it is time for a new subject, or a new topic that you don't know, but I know, and that I love, that I hope you love. It's the 3 studs of the week in the MLB. As I said at the top, I got a small stud, a medium stud, and a big stud. Some of these are based on, like, single game performances, not necessarily the aggregate of the week. I mean, it won't always be like that. It's just going to kind of be whoever I pick and whoever stands out to me personally. And these are the three. So my small stud might be a guy you've never heard of, but I want you to learn the name. His name is Braxton Ashcraft, and he pitches for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's pitched 3 games this year, tallied 17 innings. He's given up 12 hits, 4 runs. That's an ERA of 2.12. He's got only 5 walks, but he's got 20 strikeouts through his 3 games. He went up against the Reds, Orioles, and Cubs. Had 9 strikeouts against the Cubs, only allowing 4 hits and 1 run, 1 walk. And then against the Orioles, he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and a run to the Orioles, but had 8 Ks in that. And then what was his worst game was against the Reds, where he only had 3 strikeouts, he had 4 walks, he gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits. So after a rocky start in Cincinnati, Braxton Ashcraft this week pitched lights out, 17 strikeouts in 2 games. I mean, the Pirates pitching pipeline just keeps pumping gas. It looks really nice right now, and he's the 4th starter, and he looks fantastic. So I wanted to give him his props, Braxton Ashcraft, the small stud of the week. And now our medium stud is Max Muncy. I don't know if you heard. Just in case you didn't, I'll let you know. He had a game against the Texas Rangers this week where they won 8-7, and he hit 3 home runs in that game. He went 4 for 5 at the plate with those 3 home runs. Did not strike out, did not walk. And what I found funny is I was like, oh, okay, 3 home runs for Maxie. Like, how many RBIs did he get? He got 3. All of them were solo shots. I didn't really realize that because I didn't watch the game, but I saw that he hit 3 home runs, and I went back, watched the home runs and everything, like staying on top of the news. I didn't realize they were all solo shots. So then I was like, oh, how many home runs does he even have this year? And I saw he had 4, and I was like, all right, what's his RBI total? It's also 4. He has 4 solo shots this year. So if you're gonna bet on Max Muncy to hit a home run, what this year will tell you is do it when the bases are empty. But for a great single game performance this week, 3 home runs, it's always a pretty big feat whenever someone does that. Not easy to do. He earns my medium stud of the week. And then my big stud of the week, the man who stood out above all the others and actually stood out in the crowd holding the 3rd home run that he robbed against the Mariners in a single game. It's Jo Adell. Jo Adell is my big stud of the week. What a game by Jo Adell. Arguably one of the greatest single game performances in the history of Major League Baseball. I mean, he won them that game on defense. And this is not like the scenario of, oh, that guy made a diving catch and right with 2 outs in the 9th. He won us the game out there in the outfield. That is not the case. 3 home runs were hit in terms of whether it was fair or foul, or did it have the length to go over the wall in fair territory. There were 3 times the Mariners put bat on ball, and both of those scenarios were true, where it had the distance and it was fair. And all 3 times, Jo Adell got up over the wall, or sometime like really over the wall, like into the stands on his 3rd one, and robbed 3 home runs. They won that game 1-0. So if any single one of those goes over the wall, it's a tie game, and then, who knows what happens in a tie game. That's extras, typically favors the home team, and it was a game in Anaheim. So you could say that maybe the Angels would have gone out and won it anyway, sure. But in my opinion, one of those goes over the wall, the Angels don't win the game. And I'm actually, they might have actually taken the lead, because I can't say for sure that all 3 of those were solo shots, but I also can't say for sure that all 3 of those wouldn't have been solo shots. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, greatest defensive performance in the history of baseball. I am making that claim. I do not believe it is a crazy one. He single-handedly won them the game, and I think it is a top 10 single-game performance all time in MLB history because of what he did on defense was just so unique, special, and spectacular that I genuinely believe that it needs to be recognized for just truly how great it was. So those are my 3 studs of the week. Small stud, Small stud, Braxton Ashcraft. Medium stud, Max Muncy. And big stud, Jo Adell. That's a subject I'm going to keep up. Maybe I workshop the name. I don't know. I like 3 studs of the week at the moment, so I'm going to keep that for now. And yeah, let me know if you like that subject. Let me know if you want me to expand upon it. Maybe do like a top 5 guys of the week, my top 5 guys, something like that. If you want me to make the list a little bit longer, because with all the players and all the games that happened, it's hard to pick 3. I mean, it was easy to pick Joe Adell this week because he stood head and shoulders above everyone else, including the right field wall when he robbed 3 home runs. But with other guys, it's tough to find. So if you want me to expand the list, let me know. For now, I'm just keeping it at 3, but I'm always open to changing things up. And now with that coming to a close, it is time to get into our 9th topic. I am going to be filling out my NBA playoff bracket. Now, as I said at the top, I am not filling out this bracket right now. I'm filling it out in the future. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to the future. Yeah, I know. Time travel happening on Givin Takes. I'm going to be recording it later. I'm going to be sitting on my couch when I film it in comfortable clothes, not dressed up here in the suit, but it's going to be just like I did the March Madness bracket. I'm going to put myself tiny, either into a corner or like here or like on the side somewhere. I don't know. I'll be somewhere small on your screen and I'll be comfortable on a couch, but I will be filling out my NBA playoff bracket in the future, and the future is actually now. Hello, sports fans. I'm in the future now. This is after I just listed off my top 10 to you guys. It's a great top 10. You should definitely stick around and watch it after this. But it is after I have recorded the episode, but this is still the 9th topic for you guys right now. And before we get into me filling out my bracket, I'm going to quickly rattle through what I think is going to happen in the play-in tournament real quick before we go to the actual part where I fill out the whole bracket, because it doesn't have you pick the play-in tournament in that for some reason. I think it should. But I'm going to start over here in the West. In the 9-10 game, it's the Clippers and the Warriors. The Clippers have been hot lately, so I'm going to have them winning that game to advance to the second play-in game, eliminating the Warriors. Then in Suns and Trailblazers, I think I'm going to take the Suns winning this game and advancing to face the Spurs. And then in Trailblazers Clippers, I think the Clippers, like I said, are just a hot team right now. They're playing good ball. So I'm going to have them advancing, becoming the 8 seed, and facing the 1-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. In a similar-ish scenario over here in the East region, Magic and Sixers first game, I have the Magic winning this game to play the Boston Celtics in the first round. And I'm going to move myself over because I'm covering up the 1 seed over there. I'll put myself here for now. And then the 9-seeded Hornets playing against the 10-seeded Heat. I got the 9-seeded Hornets winning this game. I think Knuppel and LaMelo Ball are both playing very well right now. I think they're just going to shoot lights out against the Heat. I don't think Bam puts up 81 here. So I have the Hornets taking this game. And then in 76ers Hornets, I'm going to ride with another 9 seed, advancing to play a 1 seed in the first round. I like how the Hornets are playing right now. I think they're a fun team that deserves a 7-game series this year. Give me the Hornets to beat the Sixers, and Pistons Hornets in the first round over in the East. Now with that all done, let's get to the good stuff, the bracket challenge. I will move myself back into the middle here now. I'm bouncing all over the screen. So we're going to start off in the West region. In this scenario, it is Thunder against Clippers. Given the bracket I have filled out, not too much of a thinker here. I'm taking the Thunder. Lakers, Rockets. The Rockets may be an underdog in seeding, but the Lakers are just so injured right now. I think this was best possible case scenario for them in the first round over having to play either the Nuggets or the Timberwolves, but I think KD is going to show up. I think he's going to play great with the rest of that Houston team. I think they move on. And Nuggets and Timberwolves, actually, I'm going to circle back to that. I am going to pick the San Antonio Spurs to beat the 7-seeded Phoenix Suns, who I have advancing. That's an easy pick for me. But Nuggets Timberwolves is not. This is a very interesting game to me because the Nuggets have who I think is the most valuable player in the league this year, Nikola Jokic. I don't know how he's not getting more recognition in the MVP voting for what he's been able to do, but that's just my opinion on it. But I have you have Jokic on one side, and then you have a young star in Anthony Edwards, who every time he seems to get to the playoffs, regardless of what seed he is, he goes on a bit of a run. Western Conference Finals a couple times, second round, like they haven't been a first round exit much, so it's really tough. But I think Jokic is just too good. I think Jokic is too good, so I'm gonna have the Nuggets moving on to face the Spurs. Doing over in the East now, I'm gonna have the Pistons beating the Hornets. I think it might be in six. I don't think it'll be super handily like I think the Thunder and Spurs will do over in the West. I think the Pistons are just dominant, especially with Cade back. But, maybe the Hornets have a couple good shooting nights, like win a game at home for the first time in a long time. Like, I could see a scenario in which there are 2 games-ish that go to the Hornets, but it's going to be easier than the numbers dictate for the Pistons. Cavaliers, Raptors, this is a tough one, but I think the pairing of Donovan Mitchell and James Harden is just a little too much for me to pass up on. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Cavaliers moving on to face the Pistons. And then Knicks and Hawks, a rivalry that if Trae Young was still on the Hawks and he had that aura about him that he carries whenever he plays at Madison Square Garden, I would probably pick the Hawks, but they don't have Trae Young, so I don't think they're going to have that magic, and I think the Knicks start another run by winning that series against Atlanta. And then finally, we got the 2-seeded Celtics going up against the 7-seeded Orlando Magic in my bracket that I have created via this play-in, but obviously, could be Philadelphia too. Regardless, though, I think the Celtics are a great team. I think they're going to give a lot of teams like good runs for their money in this playoffs because I have them playing multiple teams, if that wasn't obvious enough, because I am going to pick them. I was thinking about picking Orlando. This is another game kind of like the Pistons. Like, of all the 1 and 2 seeds, I definitely think that the Celtics are going to have the most trouble getting out of the first round, if any of them have trouble getting out of the first round. I think Orlando is nice, but I think the Celtics are just going to be a little too dominant for them, and I think we see a little Boston-New York matchup here in the second round. Moving back over to the West, it's going to be Kevin Durant against the team that brought him up in the league, the team he won an MVP with. I'm pretty sure he won it with the Thunder, right? I don't look stupid now, right? He didn't win it with the Warriors. He won it with the Thunder? Or no, he did. I think he won it with the Thunder. I'm not going to fact check it right now. I'm going to believe that what I'm saying is correct and that his MVP was won with the Thunder, it was definitely not with the Warriors. So I was right. I had to mentally go through the motions, but Kevin Durant against the team he won an MVP with. The Thunder are such a complete team. They're very good. They're defending title champs. I want to pick the Rockets. I think it would be a good upset pick. Do the defending champs go out in the second round? That's what I'm battling with. I'm going to come back to that. I haven't made up my mind on how I want to pick that series yet. But Nuggets Spurs, I do have a pretty good idea. I think Jokic is amazing and potentially the only player that I think is like playing better than him in multiple levels, not just scoring, because Shea's probably scoring better, but through all facets of the game, I think Wemby's playing better, and that's why I clicked it on accident, but it is the pick I wanted to make. I do have the Spurs beating the Nuggets. I think the Spurs are an unbelievably good basketball team, and while I do really like the Nuggets, and I do understand that Nikola Jokic is really good, I just don't think... I think they're lacking a little bit in a lot of other places, so because of that, I think the Spurs are just going to be able to overpower them and advance to the Western Conference Finals. And then I'll pick another fairly easy one that over here in the East, I have the Pistons beating the Cavaliers. Not to knock on the Cavaliers. I think Harden and Donovan Mitchell are playing very well together. But I just think, Pistons are a very, very, very good basketball team. And maybe if this is a single game like the NFL, then maybe I could be convinced to pick the Cavaliers over the Pistons. But just in a 7-game series, I do not believe that the Pistons will lose to the Cavs over the course of a 7-game series. I don't think they'll lose to many teams over the course of a 7-game series that are in this playoff. So I have them pretty comfortably in the Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks and Celtics. That's a tough one, too. I might circle back to that. Thunder and Rockets were back here. I thought about it. The storyline of KD would be really nice, but Chet and Wemby's a rivalry. They're trying to renew. MVP favorites, duking it out. I could really see it. So I'm going to take the Thunder to beat the Rockets. I think this Thunder-Spurs Western Conference Final is just something that needs to happen, and I think it's going to happen. Now for the Knicks and the Celtics. This is a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with the Knicks here. The Knicks have had a lot of good runs as of late. They ran into Halliburton last year, which just destroyed them. But even though, like I said, the Celtics are a very, very, very good team, I just think the Knicks have been here a lot recently, and they're hungry, and that's just going to fuel them through this round against the Celtics. And that's not to say the Celtics aren't hungry, but I feel like there is such a difference in mentality from a team that just won the NBA Finals a couple of years ago to a team that's come so close to reaching the dance that has just fallen short. I think the Knicks are going to have a chip on their shoulder, a pretty big chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to play lights out against Boston. So give me the Knicks there. And now, in the Western Conference Final, Thunder versus Spurs. I'm going to take the Spurs. They have just, when the Thunder can beat a lot of teams. They can beat a lot of teams. But unfortunately, oops, that was an accident. So I might need to cut that. I don't know. If I didn't and I'm still talking, then I just look foolish. But I was accidentally switching throughout my tabs, so I think it just went to black. I don't think it showed any other tabs, so it should be fine. But I'm picking the Spurs. They're just, when matched up against the Thunder this year, they have just beat them consistently. The Thunder have beaten a lot of good teams, but they just haven't really been able to find it against the Spurs. I think they're 1-4 against the Spurs like that or something this year, which just tells me Spurs in 5. So I'm going to listen to it. Spurs are my Western Conference champs. Now over in the East, Pistons and Knicks. Well, I do think the Knicks are playing with that chip on their shoulder. Something tells me they're just going to run into the wrong guy again. I think they're going to catch Cade on a heater. I think he's going to play lights out, and I think he's going to carry the 1-seed Pistons into the Eastern Conference Final. So I really wanted to pick the Knicks at first, but just the more I thought about it, the more I just don't see the Pistons losing the East. I think they're just by far the best team, and yeah, I don't see it. So give me the Pistons. And we got a Spurs-Pistons final. Who to pick? It's a tough one. Victor Wembanyama against Cade Cunningham in the 2026 NBA Finals. Who wins? I think the Spurs win. I think the Spurs win this, and Wemby gets his first ring. Tiebreaker, how many points will the Finals MVP score in the 2026 playoffs? That is an interesting tiebreaker. I would have thought it was going to be like total points in the series, but so our Finals MVP in this case, let's think about this. Our Finals MVP for this Givin Takes bracket is going to be Victor Wembanyama, right? So over the course of, they probably play 5 games first round, 7 and 7. Let's say Victor plays 19, and then the Pistons probably go, maybe they take him 6. That's 25 games. So over the course of 25 games, if Wemby averages even just like 30, if he averages 30, that's 750 points. I don't know if he'll average 30. Let's go like 7, because if you cut off 50, that's like 2 points every game, so like averaging 28. We're going to go 684. Actually, no, we'll go, because he'll have some games over 30. for sure, but I'll also have some games slightly under. I'm going to go 709. 709 points. Spurs beat the Pistons in 6. That right there is my official Givin Takes NBA bracket. So I'm going to throw it back now to me in the future. And all right, that was my NBA playoff bracket. You saw all those picks. I don't know what all of them are yet, but I'm fairly certain, and I'll look like an idiot if I'm wrong about this, but I'm almost 99% sure I'm going to be picking the Spurs to win it all. I really like the Spurs this year. Maybe something will catch my eye or my train of thought will think, and this is past me talking about what you already just saw that I haven't done yet, but I doubt that I changed my mind about the Spurs. I really don't think I did. I think I'm going to have the Pistons winning the East as well. A little Spurs-Piston matchup in the finals with the Spurs winning it all. So I think that's probably how those main points of my bracket filled out. All the rest of the specifics, I have not yet. I also did the play-in tournament. I don't know how it works graphically because I didn't do it yet in this timeline, but if I didn't do it on screen, then I said the picks to you. So you know who I think the 7 and 8 seed will be, how the play-in will fill out, and who will win the NBA championship and how they'll get there. So with that all being done, we wrapped up our lineup. The starting 9 have all batted, and they all hit home runs today, baby. And now we're going to get in to the thing that ends our show every week. You know it. You love it. You've either been waiting for it or you skipped here. If you skipped here, hello. You missed a great episode, by the way. It's the top 10. So this week is going to be the first, I think, top 10 where some of the audience will not watch because they can't watch because they would get things spoiled for them. So I'm going to be doing my top 10 characters in the Breaking Bad Better Call Saul universe. I love both of those TV shows. I've been looking for an excuse to talk about them, and this is going to finally be where I give my top 10 characters in that universe. But because of that, I've seen all of it. Spoiler warnings, major. I'm going to be talking about the entirety of both shows, character arcs, storylines, major spoilers, and events that happen towards the end. So if you haven't seen all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad and all 5 episodes, all 5 seasons of Breaking Bad and all 6 seasons of Better Call Saul, you're going to get things spoiled for you if you watch this. If the watch time dips here, I don't mind. This is something I wanted to talk about. I know I'm sacrificing my viewership for some people who haven't seen the show yet, but it's a top 10 I really want to get out there, so I'm putting it out there here. If you've seen it, or if you haven't seen it but just don't mind having stuff get spoiled for you, welcome. Happy to have you here. But the spoiler warning has been put in effect. You cannot get mad at me. And now it's time for the top 10. So these top 10 characters, at number 10, I have the list not pulled up yet. Hold on. I have to get to the list. All right. At number 10, I have Huel Babineau. I love Huel. I think it's so cool that his whole thing is that just he's like a great pickpocket. Like, I think of all the things like characters could be known for, like just being good at pickpocketing, I think is such a unique trait to give a character, and the way they weave it into the plot of how important Huel's pickpocketing is in the show is amazing. I mean, think about it. He took the ricin cigarette away from Jesse and then took the weed away from him, which the ricin thing led to the whole Brock debacle and Gus getting killed. And then you have him taking his weed at the end of like Jesse's time, what would have been in Albuquerque before he got taken by the vacuum cleaner guy. That led him to realize the whole thing about the ricin cigarette. And then obviously maybe this and that led obviously to Walter's downfall, Jesse going to the DEA, Hank getting killed, all that. Like, it's crazy. The thing, like, Huel just lifting some stuff or planting some stuff on people has major repercussions in this series. And not in Breaking Bad, but in Better Call Saul, think about it. He plants the phone battery on Chuck. That leads to Chuck's demise and ultimate death, and Jimmy's, eventual turn into fully becoming like Saul Goodman. I mean, I just think like the few moments he has where he has to do something with his pickpocketing abilities just end up becoming very integral to the plot. And he's just also a fun-loving guy. You got the famous shot of him laying on the money. So because of that, I have Huel at number 10. Number 9, I have Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul. She only appeared in that show. I think she was such an interesting character, especially when you pair her up against Skylar, and just the terms of like the two different kinds of female leads and how they interact with husband in one case, basically like call like a boyfriend in the other, I guess, in the terms of Kim and Jimmy. But just how they act so differently, learning that their significant other is maybe not as like perfect as they want them to be. I mean, with everything Jimmy goes down, like the way Kim just like handles it, like might not be the best because obviously, you know, leads to Howard getting killed whenever they both get carried away. But her like connection to it and her way with Jimmy and how she just kind of goes about things, I think are just so well written. It's beautiful. Ray Seahorn does a phenomenal job portraying Kim. I think her and Jimmy smoking the cigarette at the end of Better Call Saul in that final scene is just, it's perfect. It wraps up both of their characters perfectly. And yeah, Kim Wexler, fantastic character, super interesting. I loved her in Better Call Saul. She is at number 9. At number 8, I have Gustavo Fring, the Chicken Man. I think he's a badass. I think he's dope. His way of just being so like eloquently terrifying is a skill that I feel like only someone like Giancarlo Esposito can portray and master like that. I mean, to look so unassuming in broad daylight, but then secretly be running like the largest meth empire in the southwestern United States is insane. So, I mean, you know, he's like, just the way he goes about things is very impressive. He's a very careful man. I think that's an attribute that needed to be for Gustavo Fring, just the way he goes about his business. I mean, it's just he's such a good character. He's such a good villain that like, you're not sure if you're supposed to root for him or first, or if you want him on your side with Walter and everything, but then you learn at them butting heads and everything. He has such a good dynamic with Walter. His death with him and Hector and Tyrus in the nursing home, I think was one of the most shocking moments of the series for me. Like him walking out, fixing his tie, and then it pans over to his full face and you see half of it's off. I mean, just a beautiful shot. Died magnificently. Giancarlo Esposito, Gustavo Fring. I said the actor's name on accident. Gustavo Fring, number 8 on my list. At number 7 on my list, I have Better Call Saul, one of my favorite, Nacho Varga. I love Nacho. I think he's a great character. He gets teased in Better Call Saul when he asked if Lalo sent you. No, Lalo. It was Ignacio. It wasn't me. And then, you know, Nacho is Ignacio Varga. I think that just one line in Breaking Bad is so cool because of everything it's set up storyline-wise for Better Call Saul. And we'll get to Lalo later. But Nacho, he put Hector in his chair, swapped his heart medication for sugar pills. Him trying to protect his father, and you just seeing that he has a good heart regardless of the stuff he got mixed up in. I think that's an amazing character right there. His rant and his monologue that he has after he's like prepared to die, and he sticks up for Gus and says that he's not the guy who's been paying me, or he's a bad man because he knows Gus can do the job to take him down. He sacrifices his life. He takes the gun. He does it himself. He doesn't let them kill him. But he goes off on the Salamancas before he goes, man. And I just think it was an absolutely perfect end for Nacho, even though I wish he didn't have to die. But great character. Absolutely love Nacho Varga, number 7. At number 6 on the list, I got Hank Schrader, ASAC Schrader, everybody's favorite DEA agent. What more is there to say about Hank? He's hilarious. He's tough as nails. He killed the Salamanca twins when they pulled up on him with no gun that he had. He just he was shot. He was hit by a car, and what eventually took him down was just Jack and his gang of neo-Nazis in the desert when he tried to take down Walter. I mean, him, like, the scene of him on the toilet, too, finding out that Walter White is Heisenberg, I think is just absolutely hilarious. Like, the most Hank Schrader way ever for him to find that out. But I think that's great. He was, like, simultaneously somewhat comic relief while also driving the plot with everything DEA related, which I thought was just wonderfully well written. I mean, he's such a good character. The amount of times, like, he's brilliant too. Like, Hank Schrader is extremely smart in terms of, like, how he was able to figure out, like, everything he did figure out in terms of Walter White. Like, there's no average guy is going to be able to do that. Now, eventually, it just took a book on a toilet for him to put all the pieces together, but everything he was able to find out that led him to, like, Gustavo Fring and everything, like, insanely impressive. He's such a smart character. He's number 6 on the list. And he loves minerals. At number, I accidentally opened Steam. Number 5 on my list, got Lalo Salamanca, the big bad guy in the back half of Better Call Saul. I think he's such a cool villain. He has that same kind of, not necessarily unassuming vibe as Gus does, but just the way he looks very put together, not like he necessarily is a criminal. Like, he's very, very smooth talker, very charismatic when he needs to be, knows how to play the part of a guy who is being unassuming. But when he turns it on, he's a ruthless badass, man. I think he's so cool. I love Lalo. Just like him escaping from his house when Nacho opened the gate. That was gritty. Everything he did to get, like, back to New Mexico was insane. The way the candle, like, I don't remember if it blows out or if the flame just flickers whenever he enters the room to kill Howard and Better Call Saul. I mean, that's just chilling. The way he killed off such a major character with no effort whatsoever, I just think is so, like, it just shows you who he is and why he was so badass and why Saul was so scared that Lalo sent Walt and Jesse. I mean, Lalo's amazing. He's insanely smart. He's a great villain that you somehow also kind of, like, not root for, but you just, like in a way because of his charm. Like, you just really appreciate that character, even though he is, like, the main thorn in the side of the protagonists. Like, I think Lalo Salamanca is great. I think I've ended all of these by saying I think this person is great. I think they're all great. I love these shows. And I love Lalo, and he's at number 5 on the list. At number 4 on the list, everyone's favorite druggie, Jesse Pinkman. Aaron Paul, no one could have done this like Aaron Paul did, man. He did Jesse so perfectly. I don't think anyone could even imagine another actor playing Jesse, honestly. Just the emotion and the turmoil that guy goes through while you're still trying to see that he has a good heart, but he's had to do all these things that really makes him not okay with himself, that troubles him. Like having to kill Gale. Like, that flips him on an entire 180. I mean, killing Gale was crazy for him. I mean, he was just broken up after that. He threw the party that would never stop, sitting in front of his speakers, blasting on a million. And then, like, whenever he got the blood money, quote unquote, that he deserved from Walt, but they got it because, I guess, like, in a roundabout way, like when Todd killed Drew Sharp when they were stealing all the methylamine out of the truck, like, then they start, like, Walt to manipulate Jesse, classified it as blood money, but then that kind of resonated with Jesse. Then you just see him throwing all his money out the window, driving down the street because he doesn't want it anymore. I mean, just the mental battles that he goes through are insane. El Camino, spoiler too, if you haven't seen the movie. This is a spoiler for that, but he does end up, like, he gets the one happy ending of anyone in this show, it seems like, even though it's not the happiest. I mean, he had to watch, I think it was Andrea is her name, died, gets shot by Todd when he tried to escape being a meth slave. I mean, and he got to kill Todd too, which was great for him. Like, that was awesome. But he just went through so much. He, if anyone, deserved, to make it to Alaska and start over. It might not be what he wants because of all the people he lost, like Jane as well. Like, going through Jane's death was terrible for him too. But throughout everything, him experiencing so many horrible events, he made it out okay, and I think he deserved to, because even though he did some bad things at heart, he always, towards the later, like after he matured a little bit, really seemed to have his mind in the right place. So I got Jesse Pinkman at 4. At 3, I have Mike Ehrmantraut. Walter. I love Mike Ehrmantraut. He's a great character, tells it like it is. I can't believe Walter killed him. That was the final straw for me with Walter, was him killing Mike. That's when I was like, this guy sucks. I know it took until the 7th episode of season 5, but that was where the line was drawn for me and Walter. It was killing Mike. But he's insanely smart. The cop from Philly, he just knew how to get things done. He always had a plan for everything, and we get so much of him in Better Call Saul too, to see kind of how he got to this point with Gus, which I just think is fantastic. Like, when I finished Breaking Bad and then I learned that Mike was also in Better Call Saul, I got so happy that I got more Mike, because I just think he is a fantastic character, so unique. It was great in both shows. The stuff that happened with his son, super emotional. Like, him having to lead his granddaughter is crazy. I mean, when you just see everything Mike has done, how smart he is and how he approaches everything, it's impossible not to love this guy. He's at number 3. Number 2, the big bad, man. The big bad man, who's also simultaneously the hero for some people. It's Walter White. I know, Walter White is not at 1. It is surprising. Maybe to some, but if you haven't guessed already, you know who number 1 is going to be just by process of elimination. But I got Walter White at 2 just because, I mean, I like the next character on this list more, but he's amazing. I mean, Bryan Cranston, a Hall of Fame actor right there, that with a Hall of Fame character in television. Some regard the best character in television history is Walter White. As Vince Gilligan has said verbatim, they wanted to take Mr. Chips and turn him into Scarface, and Bryan Cranston was able to put that on the silver screen. Or is television the silver screen? Or is that movies? I don't remember. Whatever. He was able to put it on TV, and he was able to portray it really freaking well, man. I mean, that Breaking Bad is not Breaking Bad without Bryan Cranston portraying Walter White. Just the way he is able to act in some of these scenes and the emotions he is able to convey feel so real. Like you're actually going through this with Walter. It's crazy. And you find this weird way to be able to root for Walter for so long, even though when you take a step back and think about the things he's done, like, it's crazy, but it's able to be justified because you know why he started doing it in the first place. But then it just got so much bigger than anyone ever imagined. So, great character. The series wouldn't be the series without Walter White. He's at number 2. And at number 1, he's the man. He's actually, I'll dial him up real quick. It's Better Call Saul! Saul Goodman, number 1 on my list. I love Saul. He's hilarious. Also known as Jimmy McGill. Also known as Gene Takovich. I think Better Call Saul, I mean, he was damn near my favorite character in Breaking Bad, just alone. Like, it was, like, I probably would have put Walter at 1 and Saul at 2 if it was just Breaking Bad. But when you add in everything from Better Call Saul, the whole story, it's impossible not to put him at 1. I mean, this is already a super long top 10, so I mean, I guess at this point there's no point in shortening up the Saul Goodman segment compared to the rest, but there's just so many things. I mean, watching him, how he had to defy his brother who hated him and kind of was forcefully turned into Saul Goodman because he couldn't be Jimmy McGill anymore because of everything that had happened. Like, he had to become Saul Goodman. Saul Goodman. Like, he had to do that. And what's even crazier is the fact that after everything that happened, after he disappeared and went to Omaha and was managing a Cinnabon just like he wanted to under the name Gene, he got caught. He got arrested, and he was going to be put in jail, and it was going to be 7 years because you know that man knows the law backwards and forwards, is able to talk his way out of anything. And he talked himself down to 7 years. And then he called Kim Wexler to come to the courthouse, and then he talked his way in to 86 years in prison. Because he wanted to show Kim that the person who he became when he was Saul Goodman doing all this stuff for Walter White is not the person he is. I mean, he just wanted to be Jimmy McGill again for a moment, and he was. He said that Walter White could not have done it without him. If Walter White didn't have Saul Goodman, and I believe this, he would have been dead or behind bars after a couple months, just like he says in the show. He wasn't there when the meth was cooked or when it was sold, but he knew damn well that was happening, and he made millions. Like the show doesn't happen without Saul Goodman. None of that is able to happen without Saul. Like it's just not. And especially when you think of all the stuff that he did, like with Joe DeRosa's character, the veterinarian, like him getting all those names for people that he's in contact with from that guy. Like Saul brought so many connections, so much intelligence, and he was also a funny character, which helps. But in terms of making the series what it is and it being like just it existing practically, none of it happens without Saul Goodman. He's the backbone of this entire universe. Like none of it exists without Saul. And he's my favorite character in the Breaking Bad Better Call Saul universe. So recapping that top 10 for you, at number 10 is Hugh Babineau, number 9, Kim Wexler, number 8, Gus Fring, number 7, Nacho Varga, number 6 is Hank Schrader, number 5, Lalo Salamanca, number 4, Nacho Varga, number 3, Mike Ehrmantraut, number 2, Walter White, and number 1, Saul Goodman. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. It was a top 10 that was about like 20 minutes long almost, which is crazy. But when I get to talking about like a show that I like and stuff, like I ramble on. So that's what I did here. But if you like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and stayed around for that subject, then hopefully you enjoyed that bit of me talking about it as well. So that's all I have to say. Look forward to me appearing on the Empty the Bench Network. I'm going to try to tweet out, or not tweet out, I don't use Twitter. I'm going to try to post on like my Instagram story and stuff, like when I'm going to be appearing on these shows. So those of you that just follow me but don't follow them necessarily, which you should do, go follow them at Empty the Bench Network. Then you'll be able to know when I'm going to be on these shows, which shows I'm going to be on. That way, like, if you like me and you watch the show for me and not to just get a sports fix, then you can find me in other places. So I think that's all I had to say. It was a very fun sports week. I'm looking forward for more playoffs starting up here soon. And as always, I've been Nate Miller. Those are my takes.